Why did you come back?
Okay, so we're at the last story for the Harry Potter series, but unfortunately, people are greedy, and they decided to split this in two. So here's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1.
On the count of 3! 1, 2, 3!
So we meet back up with Harry at the child abuse house, where the Dursleys are packing to go hide because Death Eaters are attacking Muggles.
We're going away! Where they can't find us!
The moving company already picked up the bulk of their shit. Now they're just packing up the shit that they're immediately gonna need. Like the weed whacker.
It only makes sense.
But for some reason, Harry's room's still full of crap, even though he probably plans on never coming back. So he just takes his essentials, like a shard of glass that he sees some old dude in. And Hermione goes as far as erasing herself from her parents' memory, which also creates some poorly posed and confusing photography around the house.
The fat lady, she's gone.
And hopefully it cleared the bedroom too, because that would be really hard to explain.
Bring her back!
We then go to Snape, showing up at the Malfoy residence to see that they're having a Death Eater dinner.
You can't guard death. Death, please.
Fair warning, tastes like goblin piss.
They're discussing when the Order will be moving Harry. One dude heard that they're going to do it the day before he turns 17, but Snape heard that's bullshit. He says the Orders are no longer watching him, which they should already know because they have plans throughout the Ministry. But they think that once they move him, he'll be guarded 24/7, and it'll be impossible to kill him then.
So they're having this big planning session over how to kill this kid. Not one of them thought to find out where he lives?
Well, keep in mind that Arthur Weasley is obsessed with Muggles, but still doesn't know anything about him.
What exactly is the function of a rubber duck?
Now, do you really think these purebloods know how to use the internet or a phone book? They still communicate with fat carrier pigeons. So no, they probably don't know where the child abuse house is.
No one. How disappointing.
And Tom also has another problem, because his and Harry's wands are twins, they can only hurt each other, so he needs somebody else's wand to kill him with. And no one wants to give theirs up, so he makes Lucius do it, and when he does, he looks like he just handed over his penis instead of a stupid magic stick.
I don't go anywhere without my stick.
The attention then turns to the floating woman at the end of the table. She taught Muggle studies at Hogwarts, and Tom kills her because she thought it was okay for wizards and witches to bang humans. And then he feeds her to his anaconda.
Is that why they're called Death Eaters?
Maybe.
Why didn't I see it before?
Meanwhile, the Order meet at the child abuse house to transport Harry. Since he's still underage, the Ministry is able to track him with some kind of magical GPS. This is how they knew all the times he did magic underage, and why it's stupid for them not to wait until his birthday when he poops it out or something.
You're welcome to share my toilet.
So the Ministry knows that he is at home right now.
Yes.
But you said that the Death Eaters had people in the Ministry. How would they not know where he lives?
Well, he has to use magic for it to pop up on the radar, or whatever the fuck they have.
If you sneeze, the ministry will know who wipes your nose.
Moody wants some of them to take Polyjuice Potion, and they'll ride with the rest who will guard the fake Harrys. This is to confuse any attackers, and also let his close friends know how big or small his penis is.
10 inches. Nothing special, but I reckon it'll do.
Since he was the one who dropped him off at the Dursley house, Hagrid requested that he be the one to take him away from there. So they all take off and drive straight into a storm cloud where like every Death Eater was waiting to kill him.
Why's the tone of surprise?
But they just left, and Harry hasn't done any magic. How are they waiting on him?
Shut up, they just are.
We've been betrayed.
By who?
Oh, we'll never know. But to make sure Harry's safe, Hagrid takes him down to a busy highway to endanger a bunch of randos just trying to get home for dinner.
Do you think I'm gonna let everyone risk their lives for me?
But in a tunnel, Hagrid gets knocked the fuck out, so Harry has to drive. And now that he can't defend himself, Hedwig attacks the Death Eater following him. And this pisses him off, so he shoots Hedwig and she dies.
She dead?
Who's Hedwig?
The fucking owl that Hagrid gave him in the first story.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really remember.
Anyway, well apparently that Death Eater figured that killing his pet was good enough and fucked off. But it's actually because of Hedwig that Tom knows which Harry to go after. He shoots, but Harry blocks, because apparently Lucius had a cheap piece of shit wand, or maybe Tom just shouldn't have broken it, because Harry overpowers him and then hits the nos.
Handy if you need to make a quick getaway.
But they're going too fast, and they end up landing in the Weasley swamp. And I'm not really sure why they chose to hide Harry at the place Snape would know about, especially his second home that was literally attacked by Bellatrix in the last story.
That's obvious.
But everyone gets there fine, except this rando that chickened out, Moody, who died, and George, who got an ear infection or some shit.
Why would the Death Eaters hurt George and not kill him?
Oh, Tom reminded everyone that he's the one who has to kill Harry, and since George looked like Harry, they couldn't kill him.
That there is the secret to our success.
So after all these people risked their lives, or even gave theirs to protect him, he sneaks out of the house in the middle of the night to go find the Horcruxes.
But you can't fight this war on your own.
Wasn't that the plan at the end of the last story?
It was, but he must have forgot about it until he had a vision of Tom attacking that wand dude, Ollivander. So Ron catches him and tells him to stay for his brother's wedding and that he'll go with him.
Yeah, that's me. Ron Weasley, Harry Potter's stupid friend.
So while they're putting up the tent like an Amish barn raising, the new Minister of Magic shows up to read
The last will and testament of Brian Dumbledore.
He left Ron his reverse lighter, Hermione a book of nursery rhymes, and Harry the golden snitch he vomited in his first match. He also wanted to leave him the sword of Gryffindor, but it's missing.
Is that important?
Somewhat.
Yeah, a little bit.
At the wedding, Ron's brother Bill marries Fleur from the Triwizard Tournament, which is probably pretty awkward for Ron since he had kind of a crush on her.
I'm in love with her. Alright, fine, you're in love with her. Have you ever actually met her?
Harry sees some old fart that wrote a nice article about Dumbledore in the paper. He tries to talk to him, but this old broad bumps in and info dumps all sorts of information about Dumbledore. He's got a brother, his dad killed some muggles, and they used to live in a place called Godric's Hollow, which is where Harry's parents were killed, and also that this lady, Bathilda Bagshot, knows everything there is to know about him, and is probably the person that Rita Skeeter got all her information from for her new book.
Sounds like a dirty, rotten snitch to me.
But after this info dump, a ball of light shoots into the tent and warns him that the Death Eaters have taken over the Ministry, and they're about to attack the wedding. Because everyone knows when you're doing a hostile government takeover, you hit the capital, and then you hit a small, poor person wedding.
That's just going by the book.
I don't care about a wedding.
So when they attack the wedding, Hermione teleports them to the city, and they go to a diner to come up with a plan. But some Death Eaters come in dressed as repair guys to kill him. They have a full-on wand fight without the waitress noticing, because she has on the best noise-canceling headphones in the world.
You guys are assholes! You're assholes! The melody is pleasant.
But then she comes in after they've knocked the goons the fuck out.
So sorry, what have I missed?
Ron wants to kill him, but Harry thinks they should wipe their memories, which Hermione hesitates to do after having no issue doing it to her parents.
Extra practice?
So these guys are just supposed to wake up on the floor of a closed diner that's been trashed and think that they did not find Harry. Good plan.
Who am I? Do you live here?
So the three of them are wondering how they found Harry because today's his birthday and he shouldn't have the tracker anymore.
Well, with everything going on, maybe he didn't have time to poop it out yet.
Well, he is under a lot of stress.
Do you mind if I use the loo?
No, of course.
Anyway, they need to go somewhere safe, so they go to the headquarters of the Order that, again, Snape knows about.
Take no safer place. Not one. Except perhaps Hogwarts.
The next morning, while snooping around the Black House, they find the bedroom of Sirius's brother Regulus. And because he put his full name on the door, unlike Sirius, they suspect that he's the RAB from the Locket note.
Well, who else could it be?
Then they find Creature spying on him, so they ask him about the locket, and he recognizes it. So they manage to find the right person with the initials RAB on the first try by accident.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
They also learn that the dude that fucked off when they were attacked is the dude that now has the locket because he looted the headquarters after the Order went into hiding. So Harry tells Creature to find him.
Of course, Master.
Meanwhile, the Ministry is now being run by this dude with a goat beard, and he has Umbridge working close with him. He wants to evaluate all the current employees, probably by asking them to write down 5 things they did this week, and if he hears what he likes, they get to stay on at the Ministry.
You're doing nothing wrong. What is there to fear?
I'm fearing your definition of wrong.
Later that night, Creature and Dobby come back with that dude. They ask him where the locket is, and he says some lady from the Ministry took it, who happens to be Umbridge, which they know because she's on the front of a very conveniently placed newspaper.
What a coincidence.
So the next day, they knock 3 people the fuck out and use Polyjuice Potion to become them so they can get the locket. Ron and Harry have to go into a public restroom and flush themselves down the toilet to get in the Ministry. And when they get there, it seems that redecorating was a top priority of the Death Eaters, because they added a new sculpture of Muggles being crushed as the first thing you see when you enter the building.
I love what you've done with the place.
In the elevator, Ron finds out that his dude's wife is being questioned, and the head of magical law enforcement needs it to stop raining in his office. So now he has to help this couple instead of looking for the Horcrux when they don't know how long the Polyjuice Potion is going to last.
Yeah, imagine if something went wrong and we ended up a scrawny specky git forever.
When he leaves, Harry and Hermione immediately accidentally bump into Umbridge, but Harry has to get off the elevator to keep up normality. So he walks like he's got a stick up his ass to the propaganda room, where they're just making pamphlets about the magical master race.
I checked this out weeks ago for a bit of light reading.
He also sees that Umbridge is in charge of registering Muggle-born wizards and witches, and that her office is guarded. So he uses a toy to cause a commotion so he can slip in without caring about the security eye at all.
What will this do?
Inside, he sees that she reads shit about the dangers of non-purebloods, so I'm sure she has really good intentions with her job. But he hears the supervisor out in the hall, so he goes out there where everyone can see that he broke in. He then randomly gets in the same elevator as Ron, and they head down to where Hermione and Umbridge are. Harry sees that she's wearing the locket, so he knocks Umbridge the fuck out, and they get away just as the Dementors are about to get him.
That's been known to happen.
Harry and Hermione's Polyjuice potion wore off, so now they have to go through the Ministry, with both of them being well-known, high-priority targets.
Oh dear, we are in trouble.
Ron's Polyjuice, on the other hand, has comedic timing, and wears off while this dude's wife is kissing him for saving her. And his dude also has comedic timing, and apparently no shame, as he comes in to see it, in his underwear, in his place of business.
Pathetic, isn't he? Just a little bit.
But this commotion gets them spotted, so they need to escape before they can seal the building. They do, but the head of magical law enforcement follows them into the fireplace. So when they get to where they were going, Hermione quickly teleported them away, and they end up in the woods. But Ron got his arm all fucked up because of it.
Oh, that's rotten luck.
Luckily, Hermione has a cure in her Mary Poppins bag. She also has a 10 in there that Harry sets up as she puts up a protection spell. They then try to destroy the locket, but nothing seems to work. So Harry decides to wear it, and it makes him really irritable. Then Hermione suggests that they take turns wearing it, even though they're not planning on leaving until Ron's better.
Why don't they just put it in the Mary Poppins bag?
Well, it's really important they don't lose it, but considering they would be completely screwed if they lost the bag, they probably should. Because it turns out, both guys are whiny little bitches when they wear it.
I'm doing everything I can.
You're not doing enough! But don't expect me to be grateful just because now there's another damn thing we've got to find.
But when they see the Ministry's Gestapo taking in some mudbloods that were living off the grid, they know that they needed to take the risk and walk to where they're going. But after a while, Ron gets mad that they're not doing more than camping and hiking all day. And he wants to leave because he's worried about his family, bored, and thinks that he's in the way of Harry being able to bang Hermione.
What about my sister?
So he takes the locket off and teleports away.
I really couldn't care less.
I thought he couldn't teleport because he was hurt.
Well, either he got better or didn't care because he was just that bored. But if he would have just said that, they could have all teleported to the next place, he could have passed off the Horcrux, and everything would be fine. But now that they've shed that dead weight, the next morning, they teleport somewhere that serves no purpose other than Ron not being able to find them after his grumpy ass eats a Snickers or some shit.
Had ourselves a little late night snack, did we?
But after his vertical dancing with Hermione doesn't lead to a horizontal mambo, Harry lies in bed and practices kissing his snitch.
Takes my mind off things.
But his spit reveals some words because snitches have flesh memory, so he needed to lick this one to reveal its secret since he swallowed it when he caught it. And when Hermione was reading her book, she noticed a doodle and thinks it's a clue. Harry recognizes the symbol from Luna's dad wearing a necklace at the wedding, so knowing that he might have some information for him, they go to Godric's Hollow instead.
I feel it's the place to be tonight. Do you know what I mean?
Their first stop is the cemetery to find Harry's parents, but Hermione finds a grave with the symbol on it too. She then sees some old lady watching him, so they decide to follow her, but stop once they see the house that Tom killed Harry's parents in. But apparently that lady just wanted to be followed because she just pops up right next to him.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Harry recognizes her as the writer that old bat was talking about. But for someone who spilled her guts to a reporter for a book, for some reason, she won't say shit to them. But when they get to her house, Harry sees a picture of the thief he's been dreaming about. But when he questions her about him, she just fucks off.
No wonder she hasn't got any friends.
Harry follows her upstairs, but Hermione stays and finds Rita's book about Dumbledore, and also evidence of Bathilda's murder. And that's when the lady upstairs speaks parcel tongue and turns into Tom's anaconda. She attacks Harry, but Hermione gets up there and sets her on fire, and they jump out the window to escape. But luckily, Hermione stole Bathilda's copy of the Dumbledore book before going to save Harry, so now they know the thief is this guy Grindelwald. He stole something from a wand maker, and Tom really needs it. And Harry also broke his wand, so now they're both on a quest to find a wand that will kill the other one.
If you tell me you've got one of those in that bloody beaded bag of yours.
So even though it's winter, and they know the hiding spell works, Harry still stays outside, freezing his ass off to stand guard. But to keep from being bored, he plays with that shard of glass that he just keeps in his sock for some reason.
It's a curious thing to keep in your sock.
But it's a good thing that he did, because he sees a neon ghost deer in the woods and follows it to a pond where at the bottom is the Sword of Gryffindor, which is super lucky because Hermione figured out that it was one of the few things that could kill a Horcrux.
That's why Dumbledore left it to you in his will.
So he strips down to everything but his boxers and the locket and takes the polar bear challenge to get the sword.
Do you really think it's safe?
But the locket is like, oh fuck, you're trying to kill me. So it tries to drown Harry. Then someone comes above him on the ice and jumps in the water and grabs the sword. Harry then regains consciousness to find out that it was Ron who saved him, but grabbed the sword first.
You may be the chosen one, mate. This is a whole lot bigger than that.
Well, how did Ron find him?
Oh, see, Dumbledore apparently knew that Ron would be a dumbass and ditch his friends when they needed him. So that's why he left him the Deluminator, and it shows him the way back.
Doesn't miss a trick, that man.
I know a lost cause when I see one.
But he had to hang around for days, until he saw a deer and thought that Harry cast a Patronus. But Harry thought that Ron cast it. Now I can understand Ron messing this up, because it was a doe, and Harry makes a stag.
Right, antlers.
But Ron's Patronus is a dog, which Harry has seen, so he should know better.
I don't care.
They must be really freaking out that somebody knows where they are.
Nope, they never worry about it again. I mean, whoever it was helped them, so they're just like, okay. And neither one of them have the balls to tell Hermione that somebody got past her spell.
You're a little scary sometimes. Brilliant, but scary.
So because the locket affected him so much, Harry wants Ron to destroy it. So he opens the locket and it releases a giant cloud that talks shit to Ron and shows him his darkest fears, which are spiders and Hermione wanting to fuck Harry.
I think he overestimates my abilities, sir.
Stop it, Harry. I know where you're going with this.
So he takes the sword and hits the locket and it dies. But also makes me wonder why they didn't just hit the locket before they opened it. Might have still worked.
Well, it's worth a try.
When they go back to camp, Hermione's like, what the fuck are you doing here? But she finally wants to go see Luna's dad because she saw the symbol again in the Dumbledore book. So when they get there, he tells them that the symbol is of the Deathly Hallows, composed of 3 magical objects Death gave these 3 brothers from not drowning in a river. They are an Uber wand made from an elder tree, a resurrection stone, and an invisibility cloak. And if you have all 3, you're the master of death. So they want to go back to Godric's Hollow because the grave Hermione saw belonged to one of the brothers that the story was based on.
Are the rumors true?
Okay, so Brian left Hermione the book with a symbol drawn on it because it's important. But then there's nothing in there to indicate what story the symbol goes to.
Yes.
God, be more specific, Brian.
Who could possibly figure that out? That's completely mental.
But instead, they went to the Lovegoods, where they've taken Luna because her dad was talking shit in his magazine, and he thought he could get her back if he turned them in. So now the Death Eaters are attacking, and they fuck off into the woods, but some Snatchers are already there hiding in some bushes.
Where did you come from?
Oh, come on.
Oh, when Harry was snooping through Umbridge's crap, he found out that some people were being tracked, including Hermione, but he never bothered to tell her.
Good lord, boy. They told me you were intelligent.
And this is probably how the Death Eaters knew to go to the diner, the woods, Godric's Hollow, and now here.
Perhaps Potter and his friends were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
They take off and catch Ron almost immediately, so Hermione casts an ugly spell on Harry so they won't recognize him, and they get caught too. The head Snatcher has a weird crush on this teenage girl, but is also wondering why they're not on the list of mudbloods they have, so they're going to take him to Malfoy Manor instead of the Ministry. Then even though he's with Ron and Hermione, Draco won't confirm that it's Harry that's with him.
What happened to you, ugly?
Bellatrix then sees that one of the Snatchers has the sword, and she attacks him to get it. And this makes her forget that she was checking the user history of Hermione's wand to see what her last spell was, and instead sends the boys to the cellar, where they're also keeping Luna, Ollivander, and a goblin from Gringotts.
Why am I here?
She thinks that Hermione broke into her vault at Gringotts and stole it, so they bring up the goblin to see if that would be possible.
So Harry is locked in an enchanted dungeon surrounded by Death Eaters. How is he going to get out of this one?
Oh, so Harry just pulls out that random shard of glass from his sock and asks it for help.
Then Dobby teleports in and tells Harry he's there to rescue him, even though...
Just promise me something. Never try to save my life again.
Anything, sir.
So he gets Luna and Ollivander off the property. Then when Pettigrew comes back down, Dobby shoots him in the ass and he dies.
Dobby never meant to kill. Dobby only meant to maim or seriously injure.
They then go up to save Hermione, but while fighting the Malfoys, Harry disarms Draco and knocks Lucius on his ass. But when Bellatrix holds a knife to Hermione's throat, they stop.
Mental, that one. I'm telling you.
Dobby then drops a chandelier on him, so Hermione's able to get away. Then the 3 of them and the Goblin meet with Dobby, where if he would have just gotten out of there, he would have been fine.
But he wanted to tell Bellatrix that he can do what he wants.
Dobby is free.
And because of this, she's able to throw a knife through Dobby's jump scar, and it hits Dobby in the chest, and he dies.
No offense, but I really don't care.
But while they're digging a grave for Dobby, Tom's getting into Dumbledore's grave and gets the Uber wand.
Are you kidding me? Brian had the Uber wand?
Yeah, and with Harry being such a Dumbledore fanboy,
Albus Dumbledore is the greatest sorcerer in the world.
You'd think that when he got the visions, that he would have recognized his wand.
He had enough time to leave important things that they would need to beat Tom in his will. So how did he not leave Harry the one thing that would help him defeat the evil Dark Lord?
Well, I don't suppose it's going to do him much good now, is it?
My thoughts exactly.
They got that right then, haven't they?
You will, I think, prove most useful. I was beginning to worry you had lost your way. Come, we've saved you a seat. Surely one of you would like the honor.
Right away, my lord.
You have nothing to fear.
Do what everybody else is doing.
We've got to get the hell out of here. Let's go.